Okay, so I have my main back panel that has the zipper pocket in it, and I have my flap, and we're going to join the flap to the main back panel. So what we need is for our back panel to be right side up and our flap to be right side up, so the two zippers are sitting more or less next door to each, more or less opposite each other, and we're going to position our flap centrally with the straight edge butted up against the top of that zipper pocket. Now, the pattern tells you to use a bit of double-sided tape. I'm going to actually do that this time because the double-sided tape will not be in the seam allowance. So I'm going to pop that double-sided tape very close to the top edge. In this instance, we actually have a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I know that I'm not going to be stitching through this. But actually adding the double-sided tape means that you're not going to get any kind of gaping. You must position this centrally so that you have the same gap on both sides, and it needs to be butted right up against the top of that pocket. Now you're going to top stitch across this flap using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Let's get rid of some of these clips that I seem to have gathered up and throw them all over my table. So I'm not stitching anywhere near that double-sided tape, so I'm quite happy with my back stitch. I shouldn't have done. Never mind, force of habit. Let's just pull that through and tie off inside. And there we can see our flap is now fitted onto the back of our bag. And that little bit of double-sided tape just holds that down. If you really wanted to, you could forego the double-sided tape and do another line of stitching across there. It's a personal preference thing, I believe. I would, perhaps if I did this again, wouldn't put the double-sided tape on, and I would just do 2 lines of stitching. So, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be making more of these, but since this is my first ever version of it, I'm kind of playing it by ear. So let's just see where we're at next. The next piece is where we're going to add our zipper placket. So on the wrong side of our zipper placket, we're adding double-sided tape, except for I'm not going to, because we know that I don't do double-sided tape. So I'm going to position my zipper placket along the top edge of the exterior of the bag. Now the pattern tells me to stitch all the way along here through this flap as well. Now I'm not convinced that my machine actually has the kahunas to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually pull the flap out of the way, and I'm going to stitch across the top of here at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, and I'm only then going through my zipper placket and my twill tape and my exterior fabric. If I were to have the flap in the position, in an upward position, I'd be going through 4 layers of leather plus the twill tape, and I'm not sure my machine would like that very much. So I am deviating from the pattern because I don't want to blow my machine up. But to make up for the fact that I haven't done that second line of stitching, what I'm going to do is then pull that zipper placket out of the way, and I am going to do another line of stitching just above that 1/4 inch line that I already did. But make sure you've pulled your zipper placket out of the way. This will just give extra security to the flap. So I understand why the stitching is done this way, but I'm just not convinced that my machine, I don't want to blow my machine up. So had I read far enough ahead, I would have realised that that was coming, and I would have been able to do that second line of stitching before I put my zipper placket in. I clearly didn't read far enough ahead. Anyway, so there we go. That's the first part of the zipper placket in, and everything's looking hunky-dory. I'll come back to you and show you how you put the second part of your zipper placket in the next stage in a moment.